Let's talk about the time Kitty Pryde single-handedly saved the world. Many great stories do. This one begins with Spider-Man harmlessly swinging through New York City when all of a sudden he's caught extremely off guard by the X-Men. Ironically enough, Storm tells Peter that she didn't want to startle him, and while he thinks that's hilarious, he quickly realizes what she meant, and as much as the X-Men may not like it, this Mega Sentinel is going to take them where they need to go. The Sword Station orbiting the Earth, otherwise known as the Peak. But once inside, Pete sees all of the big guns gathered together in one room and knows that this probably means the end of the world. Little did he know just how right he was, because currently thousands and thousands of miles away, a gigantic missile was hurtling towards their planet. A missile containing one passenger, Kitty Pryde. All begins on Breakworld, a planet where destruction and violence rules all, a planet that is constantly at war, a planet that had been given a prophecy about a mutant from Earth destroying them. While the X-Men had split into teams and tried valiantly to stop the missile from ever launching, with their backs against the wall, Kitty decided they were out of time. She was going to have to phase through this missile. The only problem was she went miles inside of this thing, and there were no wires, there were no controls to get a hold of or to short out. And it was designed that way on purpose so that nothing could stop it, nothing could control it. Because this thing really isn't a missile at all. It's a bullet. While Kitty, trapped inside of this thing, just desperately wants somebody to talk to, we see the world's greatest minds getting together and trying to stop it. Strange goes to cast a spell. It turns out that they had already planned for that. They already put magical defenses on this bullet as well. And with Strange now down and out of commission, Tony suggests that they do this old school. The planet's fate is then the responsibility of the greatest mind Earth has ever known. Reed, being the genius that he is, comes up with a plan rather quickly. He creates a portal into the negative zone. Ben pilots the ship so that they can get close enough. Johnny helps control the thrusters so that they won't overheat, and then Susan uses one of her force fields in order to move the dimensional portal in front of the bullet so that, the rest of the team doesn't get wiped out in the process. And just like that, once again, the world is saved by the ever-loving Fantastic Four. Now, Reed immediately starts to think of a way to get Kitty Pryde out of the negative zone, but Johnny tells him to take a minute, that he just saved the world, that he needs to smile and enjoy it. He does. He smiles. So does every other hero, because they're all in their own trances. Every single one of them is under the belief that they have just saved the Earth. Meanwhile, Scott and Emma are chasing this bullet as closely as possible, knowing that they have no shot where they are and that they're just going to have to rely on everybody else. Emma starts to telepathically communicate with Kitty. She's reassuring her, telling her that everything is okay, that help is on the way. And while Mrs. Frost is pleading with her to try and phase through the metal, Kitty simply can't. Kitty explains that whatever this metal is, from the moment she came in contact with it, it began changing her. Hell, she was barely able to make it inside, and she knows there's no way she can make it out. She doesn't feel like she's in pain, she doesn't feel weak, she just feels sick. Her and the metal have meshed together. Now, while Spidey was able to realize what was going on and wake up from his trance, he manages to snap Storm out of it as well, but the rest of the heroes are just too far gone to wake up. And as Scott is following the bullet closely, he's telling Storm that something has to give. If all of the other heroes are out of commission, something is going to have to try and divert this bullet and hit it head on. The Mega Sentinel, feeling the remorse of all of the lives that it took in Genosha, decides to offer itself up for this mission. As it goes to take the bullet head on, Kitty is talking to Emma. Laying there pouring the sweat, Kitty realizes that it can't be much longer now, and Emma tells her that it would be a good time to phase out of that thing so that her and Scott could just swoop behind and come and pick her up. But as the Mega Sentinel makes this valiant sacrifice, the bullet just keeps right on moving. Out of plans and out of options, Emma tells Kitty she can put her somewhere else. She can make her less afraid. Kitty tells her that she's going to see this one through. Now, Emma says that this was not supposed to be her. It was never meant to be her. As we see the bullet entering Earth's atmosphere, we see Spider-Man scrambling, desperately trying to get Strange to wake up, to snap out of it, to do some last-minute magic. Sweating and sick, we see Kitty holding on as tightly as she can as she begs, God, give me strength. Seconds later, we see the bullet making contact with Earth, and to everyone's astonishment, phasing through the center of the planet and harmlessly out the other side. Afterwards, we see Scott explaining to Peter that all of the world's best minds are working on it, but Kitty is just too far gone to be safe. They assume that she's bonded with the bullet, and even if they could break the connection, who knows where it is by now? Hell, it could be in another planet. As tears stream down Emma's face, Scott says that that's assuming that she's even alive. We see the X-Men all mourning in their own unique ways as Peter thinks back to words Kitty said to him just a short while ago. Everything is so fragile. There's so much conflict, so much pain. You keep waiting on the dust to settle and you realize that this is it. Dust is your life going on, and if happiness comes along, that weird, unbearable delight that is actually happy, you have to grab it while you can. You take what you can get because it's here 1 minute and then, just like that, it's gone. I wanted to dedicate this video to the illustrator of that amazing comic, John Cassaday, who just passed away at the age of 52 yesterday. He was a generational visual storyteller, an absolute legend of the medium that he worked in, and according to everyone who knew him, he was an even better guy.